Fortnite has been banned from iOS App Store and Google's Play Store, but it really doesn't matter because you can still get it anyways. Well, simply the reason for them being banned is because Epic Games has discounted the prices of their good old V-Bucks. Now, obviously it is not that simple. There are definitely some pretty legal complexities to this, but this is basically the premise of this whole thing. So what happened is on Thursday, Epic Games introduced their new direct payment method for Android and iOS users, which means whenever you buy V-Bucks or do any in-app purchase, Apple and Google takes 30% of that amount. So this payment method meant that users would now be able to pay directly to Epic Games, and Apple will not be involved in that entire transaction process, which means they will not be able to take that 30% share. This goes completely against Apple's terms of services, a terms of service that Epic Games agreed to make their app up on the App Store. So for the same reason, Apple 2 days ago removed the game from the App Store. Now, Apple wasn't the only one to act this way. Google also removed Fortnite from Play Store, but it really doesn't matter because you see there are literally so many other ways to get a certain app on an Android device and even keep that updated. But the way Apple's iOS devices are made, they do not allow you to install any application outside from their own App Store unless you jailbreak or do something like that, which is really incomprehensible for a general user. And so an app being removed from App Store means that now there is literally no way you can install that app and more importantly keep that updated. Now, right after this happened, Epic Games published this kind of a protest video, which I'm sure you might have already seen.
Tribute, our profits, our control. This power is ours and ours alone. We shall.
This video is actually a parody of Apple's famous 1984 infomercial, which documented that in a market of computers dominated by IBM, Apple was putting out something new in the form of their 1984 Apple Macintosh.
On January 24th, Apple Computer will introduce Macintosh. And you'll see why 1984 won't be like 1984.
Similarly, at the end of this video, Epic says that they have defied Apple's App Store monopoly, to which they replied by blocking their app from a billion devices, ending with the hashtag #FreeFortnite. This video was a direct mockery of Apple's infomercial. In fact, they even named it 1984. Epic Games had this sort of marketing campaign completely prepared as if they probably knew Apple's response, because the day they introduced this new payment method and the very day Apple removed them from App Store, the very day they also started this Free Fortnite campaign and published this protest video everywhere, and also filed this lawsuit against Apple on the very same day. Now, you have to give ups to Epic Games on this one. They're kind of playing this entire situation like a sort of a YouTuber beef, like putting out a diss track, starting a Twitter trend. I mean, as opposed to Epic Games, they knew their player base will be backing them up. I mean, 1,000 V-Bucks for a $2 less? Who doesn't want that? And so till now, Epic has been playing out really good, but obviously the final call will be from the court on this legal battle. Now, this isn't the first time Epic has had some issues with these mobile app stores. In fact, while launching the game on Android in 2018, they sort of completely ignored Google's Play Store and only operated outside that until after 18 months when they finally launched the game on Play Store just earlier this year. And similarly, the CEO of Epic Games has also been pretty vocal on multiple occasions criticizing Apple charging unfair transaction shares of 30%. So it's fair to say Epic has really not been on the best of terms with these mobile app stores. But the reason why I think this specific event is that important and why it goes just far beyond Apple versus Epic Games is that Epic in this case isn't just fighting for themselves against Apple's so-called monopoly. I mean, definitely they are for themselves, but the verdict of this case will also be equally important for thousands of smaller app developers who may seem to feel kind of oppressed under these Apple's terms of services. I mean, they definitely don't have a chance against Apple. They are sort of forced to use Apple's platform and more so follow their terms, however unfair they may seem to be. But Epic on the other hand is, even though comparing to Apple they might be considered a minor, but Epic definitely is not a small company as well. Epic is a multi-billion-dollar company who owns probably the most successful game of this decade, and when a company that big goes against a company even bigger, the decision will have an impact on more than just two sides. It will for sure impact a lot of smaller developers as well. And I think however unfair Apple seemed to be here, or Epic seemed to be fighting sort of a David versus Goliath battle, it's in my opinion kind of unrealistic to think Epic Games might win over Apple here due to multiple reasoning. Mainly being Epic Games willingly agreed to Apple's TOS at first and then willingly went against them. And secondly, Apple is an enormous company. They sure will have a huge legal team who will try their best to find any loopholes. But surely you can also not say that it's entirely out of the picture as well. And so if anyhow Epic Games manages to win this over Apple, this will not just be huge for Epic Games in every way possible, but for the entire app developing industry as well. And I'm not even talking about only the smaller or the indie developers, I'm talking about some of the largest companies as well. For example, Spotify for the longest time have had some pretty serious issues with Apple of being unfairly treated as they are the biggest competitor to Apple Music. And so the outcome of this legal battle will probably affect every single app in the App Store directly or indirectly. And basically where I can see Epic Games winning this for everyone is that if somehow Apple can be forced to allow their third-party app installation or the allowance of developers like Epic Games using their own payment methods, I mean it's nothing entirely new. Apps like Amazon and Uber already have their own inbuilt direct payment methods, but for the developers like Epic Games, that's a different case. Now definitely this is a bit unrealistic to think because for sure Apple also won't let go of the control they have over their platform for years that easily. But on the other hand, I also really don't see the outcome of this lawsuit coming as Apple lowering their share of the transaction, which is 30%, because let's be honest, it's kind of an industrial standard at this point. I think that's what Valve charges, that's also what PlayStation charges. You can't just go after every big company charging their share, whatever it may be.